Yeah, my name's Tory. The last 4 years I've been writing a series of children's books called Inspiring Tales. There's 22 stories, and people like Thomas Edison and Steve Jobs, and Benjamin Franklin. And it just talks about their lives and what makes them inspiring. I wrote the books for children. I think I wanted something so when they were being read bedtime stories, they had something that they could dream about, something that they can maybe later aspire to, or it might plant a seed. And I was always a huge reader of biographies and autobiographies when I was a teenager, and there wasn't really anything for children though, and I wanted to write something for children. But most importantly, I wanted to write something for myself. I wanted to have a set of books that I could be proud of, that I could just sit on my coffee table and I could look at and I could just read. And that was basically my main goal, was to get something that I liked, that inspired me. So everyone that I chose of my 22 stories are people that inspired me. The theme for the books is inspiration, but every book has its own theme. It could be perseverance, it could be an underdog story, it could be sticking to your principles, it could be setting goals. Each book is slightly different, but each book basically has a theme to it. Every person has one quality about them that makes them extra special. When I started writing, I didn't know who would be in the entire series, but the last person I wrote was Walt Disney, and when I got done writing Walt Disney, I thought that I had written about enough people that it covered all the professions, all the ways of life. You have an astronaut, and you have a couple sports heroes, and some scientists and some different people like that. So I thought that when I got done the 22, I had written enough, I felt, to cover it all. I want to tell a little story on what also gave me an idea to write these books. I read about one time about George S. Patton. He was a famous general during World War II for the United States. And when he was growing up, when he was just a young boy, his family always read to him stories about war heroes in his family. And that's all that they read to him, was war hero, his uncles, his grandfather. And so he had it in his head that he wanted to be a war hero. And there was some war going on, maybe war with Mexico or something like that. And he was around 18, and he walks up to the general at the time who was there, and he goes, "I'm your new assistant." And the general's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, my name is George Patton, and I'm your new assistant. I'm your personal assistant." And the general's like, "Okay." And that's what got him started. And what started it was it was in his head. It was the stories that he was read to. And that got me thinking, wow, that's really cool. Like, what if there was a whole series of those books for children, but like covering a whole bunch of different, themes and sectors and professions and ways of life and ideas, and maybe there will be a war hero in there. I wrote about Winston Churchill. But what about everything, like movie stars and sports heroes and scientists, and so that's what I tried to do. And there's 22 books, so not everyone is going to love every one of the books, but maybe it takes one. All it takes is one idea for one child to be like, wow, that would be really cool to be a scientist, to discover something, or to be an explorer, and to be, maybe someone who reads the book will decide, and they might be the first person that goes to Mars, they might discover a new element, or you know, become like the next big movie star, and it starts with an idea. And the funny thing about the 22 stories, almost every one of those people were huge readers when they were young, when they were children. They read everything, and almost every one of them. They read way more than your average child. So they started to get inspired, and that's what I tried to do. I tried to have some stories for people to read. And it doesn't have to be children, it could be adults as well. We always need inspiration. I get inspired just by reading what I wrote. I read it again and I'm like, wow, that person was really cool. And then I'll want to go and do something big. Like just writing about Walt Disney was really inspirational for me, because he did so much in terms of his cartoons, but then he got into making films and things like that. And a lot of what he had to go through is what I have to go through when I'm designing my books. So he was a huge inspiration for me to help finish my books, and it's actually quite funny that he was my last one that I wrote about. But as I was researching and writing about these people, they were teaching me, and I don't think that I would have been able to finish my books series without the things that I learned from these people as I was writing my book series. So it was just quite interesting.